Straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here.
Hi and welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show, there's lots lined up for you today. Paris Olympics organisers are managing to dig a deeper hole for themselves. Athletes who participated in the events held in the Seine River have fallen sick. Belgium even withdrew its team from the competition. Is Seine unswimmable and proving to be dangerous for the athletes? Close home to India, one of their neighbours, Bangladesh, is burning and the country is in political turmoil. And in a big blow to the cricketing nation, Bangladesh is set to lose hosting rights of the ICC Women's World Cup that's scheduled to take place in October. What is ICC's backup plan of action to avoid another disaster? Manu Bhaker seems to be India's shining face of glory at the Games so far. We'll tell you how much has her brand shot up post her Paris Olympics medals. And what's the cost of the latest deal that she has signed up? And on a lighter note, we bring you the snapshots of Paris Olympics. Pictures that were cool, some controversial, and many charming, left quite the impression on the internet. But first, a look at the headlines. Starting with news from the Olympics, Kenya's Faith Kipyegon finished second in the women's 5,000-meter race, but she was disqualified for allegedly obstructing world record holder Gudaf Sage. Kipyegon's silver medal has been reinstated, though, after a successful appeal by Kenyan team officials. This decision pushes Netherlands' Sifan Hassan back to bronze. Over in football, Philippe Mateta scored twice as hosts. France came from behind to beat Egypt 3-1 during extra time. Thierry Henry's France trailed after Mohamed Saber put Egypt ahead in the semi-final. Mateta equalized late to force extra time, then took France ahead. Michael Olise sealed the win in the 108th minute. France will face Spain in the men's football final. Brazil has appealed FIFA's decision to suspend footballer Marta for 2 matches after her red card in the Olympics group stage game. Marta missed Brazil's 1-0 quarter-final win over France after a foul on Spain's Olga Carmona. The red card was an emotional blow to Marta in her final international tournament. FIFA's disciplinary committee deemed the foul merited a 2-match suspension. Over in athletics, Tokyo Olympics gold medalist Neeraj Chopra in his first throw crossed the 89-meter mark. Neeraj's recorded throw was 89.34, taking him to the finals. His compatriot Kishore Jena failed to qualify with a throw of 80.73 meters. And India's V. Vinesh beat Oksana Liwach in the 50 kg women's wrestling quarter-final. Vinesh beat Liwach 7-5 to enter the semi-final. Earlier in the day, Vinesh stunned world number 1 and defending Olympic champion, someone who's been unbeatable, Yui Susaki, in the round of 16. Vinesh has never won a medal at the Olympics. The situation in Bangladesh is tense. There has been political turmoil brewing in the country for weeks now. What started as protests against the reservation system has turned into a bit of a nightmare. Violence erupted, leading to several deaths. A government completely under siege, forcing the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to flee, and a regime for 15 years to come to a grinding halt. And this catastrophe has not spared anyone associated with the government. Bangladesh former cricket captain Mashrafi Mortaza, remember, he turned politician and secured a seat for a second consecutive term for Sheikh Hasina's Awami League, also bore the brunt of the protesting public. Murtaza's house was vandalized and set ablaze. The situation is highly unstable in Bangladesh, affecting every other aspect linked to its functioning, including sports. Now, cricket is a huge commodity in Bangladesh, and in just 3 months from now, in the month of October, the first few weeks of October, the country was set to host the ICC Women's World Cup. The last time Bangladesh hosted an ICC event was the T20 World Cup in 2014. They also co-hosted the 2011 ODI World Cup along with India and Sri Lanka. This Women's World Cup in a few months from now was going to be a seminal one for them, and that now stands in danger of being taken away from Bangladesh. Reports say that ICC is already looking for alternate venues. Sources, in fact, say that they have little faith of the situation in Bangladesh stabilizing in time for the preparations for an ICC event to be undertaken. An ICC event is a big deal. It takes time for venues to be prepared, pitches to be prepped, hotels and facilities to be kept in place. Teams need to travel and stay in the cities and feel safe. None of that is even remotely possible, seeing the kind of mayhem that is gripping the whole country. ICC has thought of a few backup venues already. The countries are some of the neighbors, quite obviously, so the options are India, but of course, Sri Lanka and the UAE. Let's look at the three options individually. India, they are the most experienced of the subcontinent countries when it comes to game development and of course hosting ICC events. Their last ICC tournament was in fact held just last year in November. They will be able to get things in place. This is in fact the country that has lent a helping hand to its other neighbors, Afghanistan and Nepal, when it has come to hosting their games and providing infrastructure in the form of stadiums and facilities for the teams to practice and players to hone their skills in. So when it comes to getting things in place in short notice, ICC needn't look beyond India. The only snag here would be the issuance of visas to the Pakistan team, as that takes a while. But that could also be handled if it comes down to picking India as the venue. The other option, of course, is Sri Lanka. The last time they hosted an ICC event was in 2012, the T20 World Cup. The issue here is the weather, the biggest concern. It's rainy season around the months of October and November all through the island country. So that could prove to be a bit of a deterrent for the tournament. The third option, quite a good fallback one for ICC always, has been the UAE. They've almost always stepped up to accommodate matches and tournaments in stopgap situations, whether it was owing to certain circumstances like India not being able to travel to Pakistan, or the pandemic a few years ago, where they stepped up to host the Indian Premier League, a tournament that they were able to conduct despite the many restrictions and concerns that loomed large. UAE has the infrastructure and facilities to handle multiple team events. The only concern would be the tracks that need to be prepped to provide more evenly contested matches. ICC will have to make their decision rather quickly, as they will have to give the new host enough time to get the preparation started. And it's a tournament that has to take place with no hiccups. After the mini disaster of the USA leg at the recently concluded Men's T20 World Cup, ICC will want to be doubly certain that there are no loopholes or any issues that aren't being ironed out in time. It's a massive blow for Bangladesh as a cricketing country and for the people who love the sport and are ardent fans, passionate fans who travel the world over to support their team. For a country that only burst onto the international scene as late as the late 1980s and attained full ICC membership only as late as 2000. Bangladesh had made massive strides in the sport, but this situation is threatening to peg them back, if not resolved. Now, who is an Olympics for? Is it for the fans who make this a success? Is it for the host country who try to create an impression on the world watching? Or is it for the athletes, the ones who give everyone involved the most memorable moments? Not much argument in there. Athletes make the tournament what it is. So if the athletes fuel a tournament, why are they being forced to compromise? That's what this Olympics is beginning to look like. Athletes being forced to compromise on their sleep, being provided the narrowest cardboard beds, athletes forced to compromise on their food, providing meals that is in keeping with what the organizers want to give and not what the players want to consume. The days have led to food shortage, toilet paper scarcity, lack of air conditioning to sleep deprivation due to uncomfortable mattresses. Forcing Italian swimmer Thomas Kichon, who won a gold medal at the 100-meter backstroke event, to sleep outside the Olympics village. Now, that's a picture taken of him in deep slumber, something many athletes have been deprived of, a good night's sleep. The most basic requirement. And that isn't all. From poor refereeing to a gender row where an Algerian boxer has been bullied, it seems that athletes at Paris have fought more mental battles off the field than they had to on the field. But wait till you hear this. The latest is of an athlete who's fallen sick after a swim in the river Seine. Belgium triathlete Claire Michel fell ill after competing in the women's triathlon event. Michel was hospitalized and treated for an E. coli infection. E. coli, a bacteria that can cause serious intestinal and medical concern. How is it transmitted? Through contaminated food or contaminated water that makes its way into the digestive tract via the mouth. Michel fell sick right after her swim in the River Seine, and that forced Belgium to pull out of the mixed triathlon event. Now, while the Belgian authorities didn't blame River Seine's pollution levels for Michel's sickness, the truth is Michel isn't the only athlete who fell ill after swimming in the river, highlighting a potential hazard for anyone swimming in River Seine. Before Michel's, Switzerland's Adrian Brifford had a stomach infection. This after Brifford competed in the men's triathlon event. He too pulled out of the mixed triathlon events thereafter. A Canadian triathlete, Tyler Mislochuk, got sick and threw up 10 times. Not a pretty sight, and not something you want to experience right in the middle of the most important tournament in your life. So it's not just one athlete. Many of the triathletes and those who swam in the river have had serious illnesses to combat, leading me to believe that the River Seine was indeed not swimmable. Pretty enough to be a tourist and ride on a yacht and take in the sights and sounds, sure, but not safe enough to be an athlete and swim in. Confirming this fact was Belgium triathlete Julian Vermeulen, who was part of the women's triathlon event.
Can't say safety of athletes is a priority. While swimming under the bridge, I felt and saw things that we shouldn't think about too much. The Seine has been dirty for 100 years, so they can't say that the safety of the athletes is a priority. I took probiotics. I had the idea of not drinking water, but yes, IT failed. They couldn't cancel the race completely either. Now they just have to hope that there won't be too many sick athletes.
They have to hope there aren't too many sick athletes. Vermeulen's clearly saying that those who swam in the river felt something wasn't right. And picture the predicament of the athletes for a second here. You have to swim through a river that doesn't feel right. And if you stop, you're affecting the chances of your team, your country winning a medal. And think about it, a river where public swimming has been banned for over a century. How could it be squeaky clean so soon? Despite France's more than $1 billion investments on the cleanliness front, it is fair to say the river failed to deliver. Before the men's and women's triathlon events took place, the practice sessions, in fact, were cancelled. The organisers, though, went ahead and conducted the main events in the fear of backlash coming in from all quarters of them having to cancel events at the Games. But they didn't think it would take an ugly turn with athletes falling sick. Despite this calamity, the mixed relay event went ahead as planned, despite the practice sessions to those also being called off due to high toxin levels in the water. Clearly, the toxin levels in the water did not miraculously fall a day later for the event to take place. So safe to say, player safety was compromised. In an attempt to save face, Morgan Pearson highlighted that organisers could have invested more in having a clean water rather than cleaning the already dirty water. His competitor, Tim Helwig, talked about how such chaos disrupts the performance of the athlete. And the Belgium Federation, who had to pull out of the events, went a step further and said, I hope the lessons will be learned for the future events. And even after the triathlon was conducted, the authorities went ahead and called off the practice sessions for the marathon event. That is still left to be conducted, and this time the organisers didn't even give a reason. What started off as a nostalgic need to create a beautiful panoramic event, swimming in River Seine, has resulted in a debacle that could snowball if federations of other countries decide to speak up. Even if they don't, I have to ask, why was Paris so ill-prepared in this count? Second, why could an alternate plan not have been thought out earlier? And third, and most important, how could they compromise athletes' safety? An answer to all those questions point to an episode that has caused a dent to the image of Paris and Paris Olympics. The story of the Indian contingent at Paris Olympics, at least over the last few days, has been a story of so near yet so far. There have been a lot of fourth place finishes. There's been a bit of tough luck too, as well as a near misses. But one of the faces emerging from this Olympics campaign for India has been that of Manu Bhaker. And it's not just been historic because of the medals, but she's also shot her brand up. There's been a lot of new brands who've approached her. And what is really her net worth now amounting to? Is she the new face of Indian sports? Take a look.
When Manu Bhaker shot bronze at the 10-meter women's pistol event, she didn't just secure a medal for India. She launched her name on the global stage. A 22-year-old from Haryana had announced her arrival, and in style. She went on to become an internet sensation after her triumphs. And when she added another bronze to her tally, becoming the first Indian to win 2 medals at a single Games, she was slowly establishing herself as the face of India's campaign. With the whole nation lauding her efforts, her personal brand was bound to shoot up too. Reports suggest as many as 40 brands have approached Bhaker for endorsements. And given she is the most wanted athlete at this point, her fee has also skyrocketed. It is believed that Bhaker's fee has now increased by 6 to 7 times of what it was before Paris. To put this down to numbers, her fee per brand has gone up from $2.5 million to roughly $17 million. Reports suggest that one deal has been closed amounting to around $15 million. So clearly, Bhaker is making the most of her time in the sun. And why wouldn't she? She takes inspiration from Usain Bolt. And if Usain Bolt has taught us one thing, it's the importance of moving quick. The flow is with Bhaker. It's time to go for glory on the financial front too. Because even as India faced heartbreaks of finishing 4th in 4 different disciplines, finish line to stand up on the podium. So the 22-year-old clearly has the nerves of steel, a great quality that is very marketable. Bhaker is experiencing what Neeraj Chopra did after winning the gold at the Tokyo Olympics. Neeraj became the face of Indian athletics, and many brand endorsements came along with that gold. Manu Bhaker is seemingly on the cusp of reaping the rewards of her intent and grit displayed at the Games. No wonder she's been chosen as India's flag bearer for the closing ceremony. This, though, is just the beginning. As her mentors and inspirations would tell her, the road ahead is long and there is much distance yet to cover.
This Paris Olympics has seen it all, some misses and some glorious hits. But what's really stolen the show has been some of the athletes who've upped the coolness and charm quotient of the Games. Some by their sheer style and smarts, and of course, many by their acts of bravery and grace. Whether it was the pregnant archer from Azerbaijan who felt her baby kick right before she shot a 10, or the Chinese shuttler and silver medalist He Bingao who carried the Spain pin at the podium to honor Carolina Marin, who had gotten injured in the match against her. Stories that warmed the heart and wooed the world. Here are some memorable snapshots from the Olympics so far.
The Paris Olympics has had its own share of ups and downs, but amid the controversies, the event has given us some picture-perfect moments too. Not the photo finish of Noah Lyles and Kishane Thompson, but some iconic moments that have made the tournament a memorable one so far. The temperature in Paris currently is a blazing 24 degrees, but this Italian swimmer is making it unbearable. The popular swimmer Chacon is in the limelight not just for his gold medal win at the 100-meter backstroke event, but more importantly, his perfect physique. Women are smitten and TRPs are soaring. Next up is the ever-graceful Simone Biles. If you think her picture-perfect moment from Paris is her 3 gold medals, well, then you're wrong. The silver shines more. After her gymnastics floor routine, Biles threw one twist at the judges too. Biles gave them a long salute after her performance. This after judges gave Biles 0.3 points deduction earlier in the day for not saluting properly. And her grace continued even at the podium. Simone Biles and her compatriot bronze medalist Jordan Childs bowed down to their Brazilian competitor Rebecca Andrade, who won gold. The stylish Turkish shooter Yusuf Dikec is inspiring not just the meme makers but other top athletes too. Like Swedish pole vaulter Mondo Duplantis, who recreated Dikec's pose after his record-breaking win. If Paris was going gaga over the Turkish sharpshooter, the Games also saw a lady boss in Kim Yeji. Yeji is going viral for her James Bond-esque style and seemingly effortless precision. She too shot to silver. Unlike Dikec, Yeji had full gears, making her even more threatening and adorable at the same time. But that threat eased up a bit when she was spotted carrying a stuffed toy elephant belonging to the 31-year-old's daughter. Zhang Chongyue won the bronze medal in the women's 50-meter rifle 3 positions shooting final. But the Chinese shooter is creating waves online for the Hello Kitty stickers on her rifle. Way to get the cool quotient up. And then there was Egypt's fencer Nada Hafez. Hafez announced she was pregnant after she was knocked out in the round of 16 and won fans the world over. So, which of these quirky stars did you enjoy watching the most?
Time for Last Serve. This is not pretty visuals we are bringing to you. Argentina football star Lionel Messi's mansion in Ibiza was vandalized by climate activists. The activists say the mansion was illegally constructed. Messi last appeared at the Copa America, which Argentina won. That wraps up Firstpost here today. We'll of course be bringing you all the latest from the world of the Olympics that's still on. This is the last week in our special coverage Mission Paris. Till then, of course, take care. Bye-bye.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for a future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment. So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished. On the show today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can you expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
We'll start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. For the first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Aaron Ham, coming to you live from the nation's